members of DinoSquad itself. I hate them. They have such inconsistent personalities, always changing just to suit the plot of an episode.
Let's start with the token chick of the group, Fiona. I wish I could talk about her voice actor, but there's barely any information on any of the show's voice actors other than their names. They probably couldn't get any work after this show. But anyway, I want to quickly talk about her character design. It shows the people behind it couldn't decide between a bob or long hair, so they combined the two into a mullet that kinda reminds me of a bird for some reason. Her personality is always changing. And I don't mean changing slowly for character development. I mean her personality is different in every episode since the writers can't make up their mind during the show. She's at first a skating troublemaker, then she's squeamish, and then she's the serious voice of reason that apparently every token chick has to be. There's Buzz, whose only consistent personality traits are his love for gross animals and video games. That's it. At the beginning, he's just a typical bitter, down with the man punk.
I'm here to check out all the cool creatures, not be a poster boy for cooperation.
Further on in the show, he's a lot more mellow. Then he becomes more gullible and idiotic.
Perfect sense to me, dude.
Awesome. What's the answer?
The basic structure of jeans is 2 legs, a waist, and a zipper.
Then back to being broody, and then he's a clumsy slob. There's a little consistency with Max, but only because he's so bland. Because apparently every leader in every cartoon has to be just white bread. At least in the newest TMNT series, they made Leonardo, the most well-known white bread leader, interesting. They kinda made Max interesting. They made him a football player. That's it. Other than him being so perfect that he's usually the one blabbing on and on about morals. Then there's Roger, who's pretty much Fresh Prince's Carlton, so I'm just gonna call him that. He's a typical African-American square tech guy, unnecessarily calculating everything. Then he becomes a lot more temperamental and serious. Then he's arrogant. Then he's a jokester. And then he's a full-on prankster. And then he's timid. His personality is definitely the most inconsistent. The troll-haired guy, Caruso, has the most consistent personality. Too bad it's the most annoying personality of them all. He's just there as the vain guy / comic relief, having no useful skills that make him valuable as a team member. It makes you wonder why he's there in the first place. DinoSquad even did an episode all about this.
Fine, I get it. I can't design big, fancy machines like Roger or motorcycles that go up the sides of buildings like Fiona. I only come here because we all got oozed and I can morph like the rest of you.
Exactly! That's what I was going to say. The writers used the episode to justify Trollhead's presence on the team, providing him with skills near the end of the episode. And what are those skills? Knowledge of lotions and yoga. This definitely shows that even the writers were stumped. And the worst part is, there actually are shows with comic relief characters that have useful skills. Although I don't think Darkwing Duck has just one comic relief, the most obvious one is Launchpad, and he's the pilot of the team. Mikey on the Ninja Turtles may just be the wild one, but he is by far the most naturally agile member of the team. And Finn on Stormhawks is a vain comic relief character himself, and the people behind the show made him an expert marksman.
All I'm saying is, a comic relief with skills can be done. But they've done nothing with Trollhead here. He's not even funny anyway. None of them are.
I'm surprised no one has kicked him out of the team yet. He's usually the one needing to learn the morals of every episode. As a matter of fact, He almost screwed a whole team over by intentionally exposing himself as a dinosaur just to be on TV. Twice!
Great. Now I... Okay. Now I can talk about... Is it over?
I believe so.
Okay. Good. Now I can talk about the repetitive more...
All right.
You said it was over!
I only estimated that it was over.
Fine, then I guess I'll just talk about the mess they made out of the transformation sequences.
The people behind the show just went willy-nilly with the transformation sequences. They are a large portion of every episode. I pretty much lost count of how many transformation sequences were in the second episode. As you saw earlier, the transformation sequences are done for multiple characters without even letting them flow altogether. Even then, one transformation sequence should imply everyone else's transformation, and then it wouldn't test the patience of the audience. It's more than that, though. Whenever a character needs to transform back into a human, they just play the transformation sequence backwards. It's lazy, and it clearly shows that's not how a dinosaur to human transformation would look like. Then whenever they need to change back, they repeat the transformation sequence again. Oh, and they shout, "Go Dino!" before they transform. Yeah, because that is completely necessary and they will never go old fast.
What you talking about? Hey, hey, hey! Jinkies! Zoinks!
Go Dino!
But even with the show's so-called science, wasted opportunities, and inconsistent characters and bothersome padding, they're nothing compared to the show's biggest problem: heavy-handed Aesops.
The obvious morals are repeated over and over in every episode. They try to put them into conversations, but it's freaking clear they're directly talking to the audience. An Aesop would be repeated on an average of 5 times per episode, making its level of preachiness beyond biblical proportions.
Balance must be maintained, whether in a large ecosystem or a small team.
Caruso, you lied to us! You just looked us in the eyes and lied!
Caruso, have you ever heard what Sir Walter Scott said? Oh, what a tangled web we weave. When first we practice to deceive.
What does that mean? Tangled web? Like the internet, the web? Or is it about spiders or something?
What it means, Caruso, is that if you lie, it creates the need for more lies and more lies to cover up your original lies until you're caught up in your own web of lies, and it always ends badly for the person doing the lying.
We can catch the bus over here.
Well, why don't we just walk? It'll be a positive step towards helping the environment.
Oh, how's that, Dot?
Well, you see, Yakko, car engines consume fossil fuels, which are a non-renewable source of energy.
And the burning of those fuels contributes to pollutants in our atmosphere.
That's why carpooling and use of public transportation can go a long way in helping to provide a cleaner environment.
I didn't, though. I changed my mind at the last minute. I couldn't go through with it. I saw a web, a tangled web, and it made me think about what I was doing. So I didn't. I'm sorry I lied to you guys. I did it! So what?
So, that's cheating!
Why? I've got my genes, they've got theirs, and nobody's genes are identical. We all swim in different gene pools. Cheating is when you break the rules, like, copying someone's test answers.
Exactly.
Okay, Mr. Duckman, but may I say I don't think you should just dismiss the notions of miracles. It's a miracle every time a new leaf grows, every time a newborn baby cries.
You're sure you don't want to accept the scholarship, Erwin?
Yeah, I only tried out because I thought Dad expected me to be as good as he was.
Son, all I ever wanted was for you to enjoy the game. Whatever you decide to do won't make me any less proud.
You might not feel that when you hear the truth. I cheated.
Buzz, how could you really be okay? We heard McFinn giving you a hard time.
McFinn? That guy is such a goon. I could just go Dino all over his head and he wouldn't even know what hit him.
Ah, the age-old dilemma between the choices of conscience. Go Dino on his head. No, don't. Violence will only make more violence. Kick his backside from here up to Bangor and back down to Boston. Be strong in the face of the bully. Stand up tall. Don't let him push you around without violence.
What's that terrible smell?
I believe it's secondhand smoke. Excuse me, sir, but did you know that new state and federal statutes prohibit smoking in certain areas?
Really? I had no idea. How rude and inconsiderate of me.
Not only that, but the Surgeon General has determined that smoking is a leading cause of lung cancer. Is it a leading cause, or should it be the leading cause?
I don't know, but it contains carbon monoxide.
You don't say. I'd better get rid of these cigarettes right away.
Try to be assertive, but not aggressive through body language.
Grrr. Stand up straight, shoulders up and back. Grrr.
Now you're sporting a physical stance that shows confidence. Excellent. Next, make eye contact with the bully. Really go eye to eye. Okay, not that much. It's more a figure of speech. Anger is a big problem. It's so easy to get angry when bullied. You have to control your anger because otherwise you keep the anger going. Anger makes for more anger, and you feed what they call the cycle of violence.
Poor misguided Mr. Duckman. You don't need to mutilate your body just to meet some vain standard of superficial attractiveness. We look past all that to see your inner beauty.
Never judge anything by how it looks. Snakes, other animals, people. That's weak, McFinn.
Yeah, thanks for taking the snake off of me. You know, when I was freaking out about the snake and you were right there, it kind of made me think, well, how you must feel when I'm always giving you such a hard time. It's just that, well, you look so weird, you know? It's kind of scary.
Well, McFinn, you look plenty weird to me, but it's no biggie.
Yeah, I guess. Huh. Never thought of it quite like that.
Some of the others told me about the bullying, and counseling is vital for kids and for their parents. I want your parents to come in too. I've already talked to them so that we can all get together, sit down and discuss what's happened and how to deal with it.
It's important not to litter, too.
No, Buzz. You just need to remember that internet predators can be very clever. That's why we've got to stick to the rules, especially when we're tempted to break them. They're not just for children, don't you know? Even a predator like Velocity can be fooled.
What was that?
We've got mail. Dear lucky winner, you have just won $50 million in our global email sweepstakes. To receive your prize, just email your name, address, mother's maiden name, social security, and checking account numbers to the address below.
Hooey, man! Did you hear that? 50 million buckaroos! We're rich! We're super rich! No, we're more than super rich. We're dinosaurian rich. Got my parents' bank account numbers, my social security card, mother's maiden name. What?
Caruso, haven't you learned anything?
Huh? Oh, right. They'll want my father's maiden name, too.
Caruso!
Okay. I got the message. It's only 50 million. I can live without it.
Oh, Mr. Duckman, we couldn't support the killing of animals for food, nor the senseless slaughter of trees for sticks.
Sorry for causing so much trouble. I guess I was being pretty selfish back there.
Fame and fortune not worth risking your friends for?
Not unless you're a complete and total jerk like that Orion guy.
Roger, it hurts a lot to be made to look foolish in front of others. Did you ever think of that?
This lemonade tastes terrible.
We were worried you were eating too much sugar, so we substituted finely ground chalk.
Chalk?
Studies show most adults are chalk deficient, and it's organic.
Roger, I wanted to ask you how you felt when your friends played that prank on you like that out in the field.
How do you think I felt?
I'm asking you. Tell me. Tell them.
He doesn't need to tell us. We know exactly how he felt. Because he did it to us.
It wasn't funny.
We thought it was, just like you thought your pranks were funny.
See, Raj? Even though jokes and pranks may be funny, the hurt is there. It's very real and can be devastating.
That is often the problem with such pranks. They can be funny to other people, but in truth, they can harm the recipient. But you four also went too far scaring Roger like that. Two wrongs do not make a right. You should have all come to me first before doing something so mean-spirited.
Truth is, guys, the reason I started up with all the pranks in the first place was that I was mad at you guys when you laughed at me when my presentation failed. It was one thing for those others to laugh, but my friends, it was too much. I just wanted to show you all what it felt like. But maybe I got a little carried away.
You could have just talked to us.
Yeah, I guess. I am now.
Excuse me, Doc, but I don't believe violence ever solved anything.
I agree. There's too much violence on TV as it is.
Maybe she's not our friendliest neighbor, but that's no reason to judge her because of the way she looks.
I saw that you weren't surprised at seeing a velociraptor. I thought maybe you were a... I don't know. I guess I thought you were kind of weird, like everyone says.
Everyone? Including you? I've heard the rumors, and I've seen the way you look at me.
But you're the one who's always scowling at me.
Because you're just as intolerant as the rest of them. Always jumping to conclusions, assuming you know everything.
Oh, we heard you've been loving and attentive with your sons, and we knew there was only one possible explanation. You're on drugs.
What?
Mr. Duckman, we feel it's our civic duty to administer a urine test.
I really do feel bad for being such a lousy neighbor. But I promise I'll never judge a book by its cover again. Especially because you turned out to be such a nice book. I mean, lady.
That's very kind of you, Terry. Getting to know all of you has helped me realize that staying alone in my house wasn't just keeping people away from me. It was keeping my life away as well.
Place truly is a paradise.
Yeah, I just hope it stays one. The way things are going, in a few decades, we could ruin what took millions of years to create.
It's not that bad, Theo. Mother Nature's a tough lady. She can take care of herself.
Not if everyone litters like that. Pull over. The Earth may be tough, but with 6 billion children messing up their playpen, Mother Nature's got her hands full. If each of us just did a little bit to reduce pollution and improve the environment, it would sure make her job a lot... Did you hear something?
Hey, I'm hungry. Anybody care for a sandwich?
What kind do you have?
I've got ground beef and veggie.
I'll take the veggie.
Yeah, me too. You sure you don't want beef? It's really good.
Well, Racco, as much as I like the taste of beef, recent studies have shown that the high fat content of certain meats can be a major contributor to heart disease.
Really?
Oh, yes. The plain and simple truth is that we are what we eat. Proper nutrition augmented with an appropriate exercise regimen is the best way to ensure a healthier lifestyle.
And if you haven't got your health, you haven't got a thing.
Proud of you all for working together to stop Velocity before he could ruin such a beautiful paradise.
We're going to have to do a lot more than stop mad scientists like Velocity if we want to keep this planet of ours healthy.
Yeah, and we can't leave it up to others to do. It starts with each one of us doing his share.
One dude really can make a difference. Dino or not.
What do we do when we see some trash?
We pick it up in red hot flash.
And why do we clean up all this litter?
'Cause we want our world to glitter.
That's right. We're not gonna litter anymore.
We're not gonna litter anymore. Wow!
I know that was longer than any group of cutaway clips should be, But I did that on purpose to prove a point. I wanted you to experience the frustration I felt while watching DinoSquad for this review. Having to hear the characters blab on and on about stock Aesops like, don't judge a book by its cover and don't litter without an ounce of salty. I did include clips of Animaniacs and Duckman, yes, but not just to entertain you, but to prove another point.
The Animaniacs segment I got the clips from, a very, 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 very special show, was parodying excessive political correctness in cartoons similar to DinoSquad. Fluffy and Uranus are embodiments of Anvilicious Aesops and the condescending moral uprightness attitude the Warner Brothers were faking, unknowingly making fun of it with their own existence.
These two satirical examples were merely exaggerations of preachiness. DinoSquad has the same level of preachiness as them. And that cartoon was playing it straight! Like I said, preachiness beyond biblical proportions!
The characters, who are around my age by the way, are just learning these stock Aesops, even though they should have learnt them when they were much younger. It just makes the characters huge idiots. Oh, who am I kidding? These are lessons the target audience already learnt when they were much younger. Yes, this show wasn't meant for really little kids, even though it seems like it. It's really meant for 9 to 11-year-olds. That's the same intended demographic as Avatar: The Last Airbender, Phineas and Ferb, and Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Those shows were on air at the same time as DinoSquad. They are not only more subtle when it comes to conveying a message, but their life lessons are actually ones the target audience would be learning about. Those shows see their target audience as more of a guideline, therefore they can able to let the moral flow with the story without letting the idea of the audience not understanding the message worry them. Whereas DinoSquad strictly follows their target audience and assumes kids who haven't reached their teenage years yet need to be taught simple stock Aesops and have it repeated more than once directly. In other words, the people behind DinoSquad probably don't want to admit it, but they think their target audience is brainless.
This show is just as bad as Captain Planet when it comes to shoehorning in morals. Anyway,
there was one episode that had the toughest moral to convey, which was how to treat someone with a disorder or a disability. It missed the mark in a few ways. The episode, The World According to Liam, is about Blandy here trying to connect with a student named Liam who has Asperger's syndrome. But Blandy questions Liam's symptoms and is uncomfortable around him. The way the show portrayed Liam as someone with Asperger's is quite inaccurate and a little offensive, especially someone who is technically a young adult. They made him completely devoid of a personality, making him talk like a robot and only talk about facts.
Sounds pretty good.
Grapes have antioxidants that stop your cells from assimilating free radicals. Antioxidants detoxify poisons and repair tissue and blood vessels, which is why...
Now, I know a few people Liam's age with Asperger's, and I know that's not the case with them. They may keep to themselves, but the ones I know have great circles of friends. They do in fact have personalities and have a sense of humor. And hell, one of my friends with Asperger's loves to drink. They do know their facts, yes, but they don't spout them 24/7. At least not at Liam's age. It's only because they know about facts connected to their interests, and so they're willing to talk to you about them if you have similar interests. Young adults with Asperger's may not understand others' emotions completely, but it doesn't mean they're completely devoid of emotions. The symptoms they talk about are true, but they mainly occur in children with Asperger's syndrome, not 18-year-olds.
Can't say anything specifically about Liam, but I can tell you that Asperger's syndrome is a neurological disorder that prevents people from communicating easily.
Is that why he's always doing this?
Repetitive gestures, problems with eye contact, facial expressions, body postures, behavior people find weird. They're all part of AS.
And the moral of the episode is to be more understanding and patient, which is fine, but at some points in the episode, it feels like the lesson is to just be extra nice to people with disorders like Liam. I'm not saying don't be nice to him. I'm just saying being friendly with everyone should be automatic. Not just be nice to a specific group of people. Believe me, I know how humiliating it is when people are being especially nice to me just because of my disorders. Because they see me as a mentally ill person and not just simply a person who happens to have anxiety and language disorder. The Kim Possible episode Motor Ed did it better, showing how extra sensitivity about someone's disabilities is almost just as bad as being offensive about them. Equality is the key, but understanding is also necessary.
So, what do I think of the show overall? Well...
Physicist! I know you're in there. Your powers will not stop me this time. I'm willing to use violence, just as long as there aren't any kids watching.
As long as, Oh, him. I'll be right back. Oh, hi, Ted.
Young lady, get your darn ditty posterior down here right now. We need to talk.
Is this about the rotten xenomorph egg I dropped on your limo?
No. Wait, what?
Never mind about that. What are you here for?
I'm here to claim and defend the dignity of my brainchild of a show, Captain Planet and the Planeteers, with a fight.
Bud, that show lost its dignity a long time ago.
Gosh darn it, you insult my baby by saying it was identical to that darn piece of crud known as DinoSquad?
Wait, you consider DinoSquad to be worse than Captain Planet because of how much it shoehorns in Aesop's? Have you seen any flying pigs around today, or...
What in tarnation? That's not why I hate it. I brought a speech to say why I hate it. It reads... More cartoons should teach kids more important morals. I'm talking the depravity it contains, the misrepresentation of animals as violent mutant monsters. It's darn ditty unacceptable. Not to mention, it's enough to scare poor sweet little kids. Children are not strong enough to handle such imagery and violence. They could get nightmares and hurt themselves from their own attempts at violence. Whatever happened to good, decent children's programs? Why can't more cartoons these days be like Captain Planet? What's this I've been hearing about cartoons today teaching kids about how it's okay to defy gender conversations?
Convention, dude.
That's an adult issue. The audience's sweet little minds will never understand. They should be taught about global warming and how not to litter. And the music on these shows. I'm surprised the young audience, delicate little hearts, haven't gotten a heart attack Next thing you'll know, they're scum to the evil rock and roll. These shows need more synthesis.
I think you mean synthesizers, Ted.
Good point, my grammar is pretty bad. I'm sorry. And what's with the dark story arcs in them? All of a sudden, the only antagonist they should be worried about is a rich pollutionist. And what? This I've been hearing about LGBT's characters in cartoons for children?
You would think after all this time you would remember why people call me the cartoon physicist. Well, are you gonna keep staring or are we gonna fight?
Wait, you actually want to fight me?
Sure, if Harpo will stop your childish temper tantrum as soon as possible.
Who's Harpo?
This is Harpo.
Round 1, fight!
There, baby's got his bottle.
Let the powers combine! By the powers combined, I am Captain Planet!
Are you sure?
What the heck diddly-heck do you mean?
Well, your appearance hasn't changed at all, so what's up with that?
A while back I realized the blue skin and the mullet looked a bit too ridiculous, so I dumped that look altogether.
Oh, so why do you still have the mustache?
Mind about the egg, mind about the mustache. What matters here is my show. Never ever say it's the same as DinoSquad. People remember my show and celebrate it.
It's not being celebrated, it's being laughed at.
How did you...
Hold. Now back to the matter at hand. There are only 4 reasons why your show is remembered today. 1. The 80s cheese despite being a 90s cartoon. 2. Most of the supporting characters are voiced by celebrities. 3. You cancel good shows like SWAT Cats just so you can say they were too violent and replace them with Captain Planet. And of course, number 4, the overuse of shoehorned morals, what you have in common with DinoSquad.
You don't understand. TV has children's attentions. We could use that to teach them good morals and change the world.
What, by nagging at them?
Oh, I get it. You're against good values in television.
No, that's not the case at all.
What I'm against is bad execution of good values on TV. The use of Aesop's on cartoons is dependent on 2 things, the target audience and subtlety. You see, shows for really small kids in general, like LazyTown, would teach their young target audience basic stock Aesops. But once that target audience is older, they would have already been taught those basic stock Aesops, and therefore don't need them repeated by shows meant for kids their age. Let's say 10 to 12-year-olds for the sake of my point. If you want to teach 10 to 12-year-olds morals, fine. Just make sure they haven't learned those morals before, yet are still ones suitable for their age, such as in Adventure Time. It teaches life lessons like love can hurt, but the pain of love depends on how you treat the person you love in the first place. Or you've got to be respectful about other people's beliefs because they really are an important part of their lives. But you of all people are probably wondering, how can you teach the audience these lessons without being preachy or making the morals non-existent? Simple. Make telling the story the first priority, and don't even think about the moral at first. Don't write a story around the moral. The moral should grow out of the story based on the character's actions. Actions that they would truly do, not what you want them to. It's like Gravity Falls. Sure, the Aesops in that show are a little simpler than the ones in Adventure Time, but they're still Aesops the target audience probably hasn't learned it yet. Like, pursue knowledge for the benefit of everyone and not just for fame. Or, it's better to face the truth no matter how terrible it is than to repress it. But they present them so seamlessly. It's as though the Aesops are supposed to be there. The point is, don't shoehorn an Aesop in every 5 seconds and don't half-ass it at the end. If someone in the audience doesn't get the moral consciously, then they should able to get it subconsciously because of the character's example, which should be done naturally, by the way. Look, kids keep getting told over and over about what's right and wrong from their parents and teachers. TV is one of the routes to escapism, but if you sacrifice entertainment and storytelling for full-blown education, then you're just making their lives even more intolerable. I mean, if, say, a 10-year-old could able to tell whether their mom is nagging to him or not based on her repetitiveness and emphasis, then he should able to tell whether his TV is nagging to him or not. Nagging won't change the world, it will just make the audience ignore it.
Or in layman's terms, kids aren't morons.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong. Michael back here. Aha, little lady. This little device here will protect me from every fallen anvil, every shape and size.
All anvils?
Yup.
Huh. Guess it won't be much against that fallen piano. Piano? So, how would I rate the show? F+.
It's a badly made show. The voices barely match up with the lip movement despite being altogether an English-speaking show. The editing is all over the place. The animation makes the movement of the characters not match up with the writer's intended motions, or just make the movement stiff and slow. The dialogue mainly consists of catchphrases, warped idioms, and puns, all unnaturally spoken. no understanding of their own dinosaur sizes. And let's not forget the bullshit science, the wasted opportunities, the inconsistent characters, and the goddamn Aesops.
So why isn't the rating lower, like an F or an F minus? Well, there was one interesting thing that the show did.
The show actually allowed 2 of the characters to expose their secret life to their families, making it easier for them to manage their 2 lives and to protect their families. Kinda like the 3rd Blue Beetle. It's honestly a very rare thing for an adventure cartoon involving young characters to do. Additionally, not being hypocritical about their own Aesop regarding honesty. Though the show never goes any further with the unique concept, I'm still pleased a show like this managed to take at least one risk.
But believe me, the show was still horrible. And you should not watch it unless you want to cringe at every second of it. After DinoSquad, I really need a break. Oh, my first live action show. This should be interesting.
Certainly.
Anybody want a piece of really fattening cheesecake?
Does it have a ton of sugar in it?
Yeah.
I'll take 2.
I think I'm gonna go buy a large hot fudge sundae and have it for dinner. You wanna come? Okay, but let's take the car. Yeah. We'll have to stop and fill it up, though. That pig sucks gas like it's water. How about you, Dot? Wanna come?
Nah, I think I'm gonna go chop down a Christmas tree and put it in my house to decorate. Then I'm gonna sit on my butt and watch TV all day.